by organizing Pushkaram Utsam from August 4 to August 8. So save this date and humbly request all of you to please participate and get blessing of Ramaji. And this is a rare opportunity, please don't miss it. And I offer my regard to Swamiji and all of you on the behalf of the BOT. And may Lord Rama bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rahulji. Now I invite Swami Sarvadevananda of the Vedanta Society of Southern California to talk about moral values. Please give him a warm welcome.
सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. Dear Swamis, respected Swamis and the devotees, our topic today will be the moral values in spiritual life. Spiritual life is the goal of our day-to-day practice, and we want to be spiritual. Means we want to know our divine glory, divine state, which is we are not aware of. And we want to be spiritual, but sometimes we miss the value of our moral values. That we have to be aware that that's the foundation of spiritual life. Swami Vivekananda understand that whatever we do, that action, every action, creates an impression in our mind, and every action reforms our character. Every thought we make, that has a tremendous impact in our character building. And spirituality is a transformation of our character, the character in which our tendencies take us to the mean, unkind, worldly direction. It can be directed to the divine, to the perfect, to the pure self within. So, the moral values are very important in spiritual life. Like simple thing, from our childhood we have learned, don't tell lie. But it is so difficult to comply in our life, in every moment of life. We may, jokingly we will also make some lies or utter something. Sri Ramakrishna was born, his father was Kshudiram, the example of truthfulness, one virtue. Truthfulness, and he was established in the truthfulness in such a way when the local jamindar, the landlord, wanted to ask him for lying, for giving a court witness on his behalf. And he said, no, I cannot do, I am a Brahmin, I follow the truth, and truth is my life. And he was ostracized, and he was rooted out of their ancestral family, and he was in the street with wife and Sri Ramakrishna's elder brother and sisters. But he didn't yield to that. He became a beggar, gave up their own ancestral property, land, everything, and do not know where to go. Because of that we see the Lord of the universe appeared in his dream, and dream or experience we say, well, he was in Gayadham and said, I will be born in your home. The value of truthfulness can bring the truth. God is all truth. But relative truth is also very important. Sometimes we may understand that everything is not changing and maya. Therefore, what's the use of following the moral values of life? But it is very important that it is lower truth to higher truth. But truth, the lower truth should be truthful. It is not on the foundation of any wrong thinking, wrong doing, wrong action. So this is the importance of life, spiritual life, to build up. We should be very careful to pay very small and deep attention to our day-to-day life, what we speak, whether we speak truthful, whether we stealing. There's a yama, even the Patanjali's first step is called yama, ahimsa, non-injury. Satya, asteya, satya is truthfulness, asteya, non-stealing. And all these virtues, very basic virtues, are to be practiced every day. And on that foundation, if spiritual practice like meditation, prayer, or some selfless work, everything will manifest, help manifesting the divine which is within us. So we all know this from our childhood. We are taught like that from our parents, our mom, dad told us. But to hold on to that practice is a great virtue in life, and it needs great tenacity, perseverance, and devoted dedication for this. So we should pay attention to this best important point of moral values in life and building up our character and divine character. Thank you.
Thank you, Swami Sarvananda, for discussing the importance of practicing these virtues and building them into our character as the foundation of our spiritual life. Next, we'll have Swami Prapanananda of the Vedanta Society of Sacramento discussing cultural values. Please welcome him.
For the development of spirituality, what is the importance of culture? We see in the lives of great saints, those who have lived a spiritual life, they live a tradition which their followers follow to become spiritual. So in their turn, they actually practice culturally what had been led by their previous teachers or previous well-known spiritual personalities. I can give you some examples. Say Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was born in a Brahmin family. So he followed all the culture that was prevalent in his family. Brahmin's family, you know that we have in our country cultures of different castes, and in that way Brahmin's culture followed. And that actually contributed for his spirituality. That means all Brahmins or Brahminical culture do not make Sri Ramakrishna, but definitely they help in the building up a spiritual person. That is illustrated by such examples. For example, he used to do worship in their family. He used to do worship of the family deity. Then he used to enact different dramas related to a religion, which are definitely cultural. And probably he used to take food which is according to the culture of his tradition in his family and in the region. So in that way it built up a very spiritual background for him. Then when he came to Kolkata to worship the Kali temple, naturally he picked up the traditions which were really good or beneficial or is recommended for the success of spiritual life. So in that way you can see that all the things of the Kali Puja that needed to be done, he learned them, and in that way ultimately we see that he was successful. Not only that, later on when he practiced other religion, he actually imbibed the culture of those religion. For example, he practiced Islam, so he started wearing dhoti just like a follower of Islam. Not only that, he started eating food of Islamic culture, that what the Mohammedans eat. And somehow or other he did not eat what is called the food which is not really acceptable to in Hinduism, but definitely he started eating onion and such other things for some time when he did practice. and spirituality according to Islam. In that way, we see the cultural background of one religion helps in imbibing the spiritual of a person, and by following that, it is possible to progress in spirituality. We shall not become like Sri Ramakrishna by eating what actually Sri Ramakrishna ate or what has been in the tradition in his side, but still it can maintain the religiosity of a person. And that is very important in our culture, that means in our ordinary culture. So in families, if we follow the culture that has been left by your spiritual personalities or by tradition, even in the family, that will be helpful for the spiritual development of the members of the family, especially children. Without knowing the culture of the family or tradition of the family, which has definitely coming down from the branches of the religion that they are following, it will be impossible for them to maintain spiritual fervor. That means it is not possible for anybody to develop spiritually. After having some grounding on the culture of spirituality, one can, if somebody has the desire to progress further, it becomes definitely very helpful. So some of the spiritual persons, you will find that they have a very good background of the spiritual life because of the culture of the family. So in that way, culture is very important for the development of spirituality, or at least we can say culture contributes to the development of spirituality, that is certain. By culture we can mean that, as it is called, belief or tradition of the family is very important. Language also. There are also customs. There are many customs that unknowingly actually follow, or it is being imposed on the children. That also can help in the future development of spirituality. In the same way, rituals, it is little bit advanced culture from the spiritual point of view. So in case of Sri Ramakrishna, as I told you, he was a priest. He practiced priestly life. So that also helped in future development of spirituality. Behavior, of course, naturally in the tradition of the family, we have certain behaviors which are really helpful in the development of the spiritual life, especially those who are in the worship side or spiritual side. If they maintain the tradition, that will be helpful for future development of spirituality. And faith and religion, of course, broadly faith and religion can be divided into different sects, as we know, that is Shaivites and Vaishnavites are there. In that way, different sects are there. So in that way, those cultures actually help in the development of the spirituality of a person. Food, of course, very important for us. As you know, that technically food helps in physically, in physical body, food actually contributes to some extent in the control of the mind and maintaining of the health. That is one part. And also the tradition that has come down from the predecessors, that also is very helpful in a sense that some people would like to have what is called vegetarian food, and among the vegetarian food certain items are really conducive in certain sects. In that way they can select. So the point is that association of these things really help in the growth of the spirituality. So in that way we see the culture has got definitely important role in the development of religious life of a person. And this culture has come down from the religious practice of certain spiritual predecessor. So in that way it continues. That means I become spiritual, I have certain practices by which actually I advance in spiritual life. So I have left that what is called tradition, and those will follow me. They will find that those following those traditions, they also will become spiritual. So in that way it is continuously going on. So we cannot really neglect the culture of spirituality and the culture of this tradition in the development of spirituality. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Swami Prapanananda for that insightful discussion on the importance of tradition and family and cultural values in developing spirituality. Now we welcome Daniel Hendricks, a world-renowned international opera singer, to the stage to sing a few songs, some of which he has written himself. Thank you.
Good evening. This first song I wrote just a couple of weeks ago when I found out I was going to come here. My good friend Jeff Fiore sent me some words to inspire me, and I spent a few days meditating. And this is what came out. It's called Glory. Can you turn the piano up a little bit for me? When thoughts arise in apparent contradiction, when the truth arrives, we're faced with old convictions, we can realize there is absolute ascension if we free our hearts and minds, embracing life. If we lose our way, there's a light that surely follows. It can illuminate the soul that's filled with sorrows. It's as if to say, I'm here today and here tomorrow. Should we lose to see the path of truth and light, and fear subside. Glory from above. Oh, the peace and joy reigns like the clouds. Oh, transcendence echoes here and now in His love, in His love. When thoughts arise and we're lost in contemplation, when the truth arrives and we're faced with revelations, we can see it's time to be freed from old traditions. When we open hearts and minds, embracing light, if we seize the day, our hearts will surely follow and will illuminate the paths of our tomorrows. We can finally say there's no need of thoughts to borrow, as we choose to see the path of truth and light, and fear subside. Oh, the glory the clouds. Oh, transcendence echoes in his now, in his love. Millions of stars placed in the skies by one God. Millions of men lift up their eyes to one God. So many children calling to Him by many a different name. One Father, loving each the same. Many the ways all of us pray to one God. Many the paths winding their way to one God. So walk with me, brothers, there were no strangers after His work was done. For your God and my God, they are one. Many the paths winding their way to one God. Walk with me, brothers, there were no strangers after His work was done. For your God and my God are one.
What a powerful voice and what powerful words. Thank you so much again, James. Next, we have Swami Tattva from the Vedanta Society of Northern California speaking about social values. Please welcome him.
Revered Swamijis, all the devotees and friends who have assembled here. The subject is something very interesting, the importance of social values in developing spirituality. Now, as you all know, spirituality is a very abstract concept. You cannot see spirituality, you cannot define spirituality, you cannot verbalize or explain what spirituality is. But spirituality can be very directly felt, very intimately experienced. You can very easily recognize when you see a spiritual person, when a spiritual person speaks, acts, behaves and talks to you. So what is spirituality? There is a very, very interesting definition of spirituality in one of our important canonical works of Advaita Vedanta. It is in the Lodavada Karika. It is a commentary in verse on the Mandukya Upanishad. So Siddhanta Vyavasthasu Dvaitino Nischida Dritham Parasparam Viruddhyante Taihi Ayamna Viruddhyate. The essential meaning is those who think that their own idea, their own way of life alone is the right one and all others are following the wrong path, well, they have a problem. That's not spirituality, that's the antithesis of spirituality. Spirituality is, then he says, Parasparam Viruddhyate Taihi Ayamna Viruddhyate. Real spirituality, real Advaita philosophy has no quarrel with anyone because it looks upon entire humanity as one spiritual family. So Shankaracharya in his commentary says, Taihi Anyona Virodhibhihi Asmadiyoyam Vaitigo Dharma Na Viruddhyate Atma Ananyatvad. There is one divine spark that is present in all of us, that is present in everyone, that is omnipresent. When you reach that level of spiritual evolution, which is again not a definition, not an idea, not a concept, but a real experience, which again experience can never be explained, experience can only be experienced. When you reach that level of spirituality, such a person will look upon entire creation, not just human beings, the entire creation as one spiritual family. Vasudha eva kudumbagam. This is one of the important definitions. The entire earth is one spiritual family. Now, Swami Vivekananda in his complete works, he talks about the gradual evolution at the level of the idea of God and also at the level of our own human beings. He says, we evolve through rituals, external practices, then concepts, theology, philosophy, and eventually to experience. When you reach the experience level, when spirituality becomes a real fact in our life, it expresses itself in our actions, in our feelings, in our interactions with others, and also we also feel a kind of inner serenity and peace within, and those whom we interact with, they also feel this experience. In the Bhagavata Purana, there is what I would consider the most powerful definition as to what is the nature, what is the fundamental qualification of a spiritual person. Divi Navayogi Sambhada Ekadasha Skandha, it's very interesting. The king, the philosopher king, his name is Janaka. He is a great philosopher king, more like the philosopher king whom you find in the Plato's Republic. He is visited in his court by 9 sages. Kabir Harir Antariksha Prabuddha Piparayana Avi Kotroda Dumilas Chamasa Karabhajanaha. 9 sages one day visit a king in his palace. And the king puts one question each to each of these 9 sages. One important question that is put to him: who is actually a spiritual man? In other words, what is spirituality? The answer given is Antariksha is the sage who gives the answer. He says, Sarva Bhudeshu Yapasya Bhagavad Bhava Makpanaha Bhudani Bhagavati Atmani Esha Bhagavadottamaha. An ideal devotee of God is not one who goes to a temple every day and prays, or reads a book every day, performs a puja, but the noblest, the highest devotee of God is one who sees God in everyone and who sees the presence of everyone in God. That is the highest definition of spirituality. It's almost like a hill, you know. See, according to the definition of Vedanta, spirituality Vedanta, says there are as many parts, so many parts, as many parts as there are religions. That is the central teaching of Sri Ramakrishna, who himself was an embodiment of this teaching. When you reach the top of a hill, then you look down, then you find there are so many roads, trails that lead up to the top of the hill. But if you are following your own track, you think your own road is the only road existing. When you reach the top of the hill, then you can see, and you look down, you see hundreds of different trees, hundreds of different roads that lead to the same top of the hill. At the top of the hill is spirituality. All other levels are rituals, concepts, ideas, and remember, there's a long distance to cover from a concept to an experience, to an idea to a fact. So when spirituality becomes a fact, then we cannot neglect people, we cannot be blind to the conditions of the people, we cannot even be blind to the secular conditions of the people living around us. Social activism becomes a core of collective spirituality. It's called collective spiritual evolution. We cannot evolve ourselves and we cannot leave others behind. So a truly spiritual person will make sure that he will also take care of others. And when this happens, every action becomes an act of worship. Every thought becomes a meditation. Every word becomes a mantra. Every word becomes a sacred word. And the whole life becomes spiritualized. And then what happens? Secular activities themselves become spiritual activities. So when you can see no distinction, no line of demarcation between the secular and spiritual, when the secular also becomes spiritual, you are a truly spiritual person. That is precisely what Vedanta, and that's the Swami Vivekananda gave for us. So in an organized, institutionalized manner, is a new experiment in Indian history. You know, in Indian tradition, spirituality, unfortunately, was always misunderstood to be something individualistic. Not always so, because you find in Mahabharata, you find elsewhere Panja Yajna, which Shankaracharya says, he says, Panja Yajna Varo Nityam Grihastha Panja Pujayi. Every householder, when he does puja in his temple, in his shrine, he should also look around and make sure that his neighbors, his relatives, the people living around him are also happy. So Swami Vivekananda's unique contribution was that he made a responsibility of monks to spread secular education, to start hospitals, women empowerment, even spreading secular education like physics, chemistry and mathematics, even sports. There are sports activities organized by Ramakrishna Mission. In other words, you see that the line of demarcation between the secular and spiritual disappears. Everything becomes secular. Everyone becomes your neighbor. Every individual becomes your own self. Shankaracharya says, Sahastadvi Padesam. He says, you cannot do harm to your neighbor. You cannot do harm to somebody living in society without hurting yourself. You cannot hit your head with your own hand, you will feel the pain. Similarly, we cannot do any harm to anybody in society without feeling that pain ourselves. So, spirituality in the context of Swami Vivekananda's teaching is social activism with a spiritual outlook. That means Atmana Mokshartham Jagat Hitaya, as was quoted by my friend at the beginning of this session. So, spirituality is actually something abstract,
but it can be practiced, it can be felt, it can be experienced. And when you look upon entire humanity, entire creation as a spiritual family, that's the time when you become spiritual. In the Vedic tradition, you know, Deva Shanti, Antariksham Shanti, Prithvi Shanti, Oshadaya Shanti, let there be peace and happiness on earth, in waters, in the clouds, in the skies, in the mountains. We cannot even pollute water, pollute the air. We cannot do harm to our own social environment without violating the rhythm. Rhythm in the Vedic language is the invisible balancing system. We cannot do harm to others without doing harm to ourselves. When this intimacy, spiritual intimacy, makes us look upon the entire humanity as one spiritual family, that is the only definition possible for spirituality. So it's a very limited time, it's a very important topic, but I'm happy that you got a chance to meet all of you and speak just a few words on this very interesting but very important and very relevant subject. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you to Swami Tattva Mayananda for discussing social values and how collective spirituality and social activism relate to developing spirituality. That was very insightful. I think we're very lucky to hear all these different perspectives about this topic. And I'm very lucky that Swami Tattva Mayananda considers me his friend. I feel very, very lucky for that. Next we have Swami Yogatmananda from the Vedanta Society of Providence talking about ethical values. Please welcome him.
Many thanks to the Hindu Temple of Greater Chicago for this wonderful reception and welcome. And very important topic of values is being discussed. You can see that the same topic has been given to two speakers because the topic is vast. And so, if many parts will not be explained, but when two speakers speak, many sides will get clarified. So my topic is about ethics. Actually, Swami Sarvadevanand spoke about the value of morality. And the difference between morality and ethics is more or less just contextual or theoretical. Means when you use that word in field of philosophy or law, then you use the term ethics. But in normal social parlors, you use the word morality. Both mean the same thing. And it is important for all of us to see that this ethics has to be a foundation for spiritual growth. I mean, you can have the foundation and you may not have the superstructure on it. That could happen. But there cannot be a building, you cannot say, let me build only the upper part of it and forget the foundation, and that's not possible. So you have to have the ethical values, and we shall see Swami Vivekananda has very beautifully explained this idea. This idea of ethics is again very specific to human beings, because it is in human beings. See, the animals, they never do anything wrong. If a dog bites a person, it is not dog's fault. It is the owner of the dog that is responsible for that. It is not animals; they do not have the right and wrong sense. It is human beings who see the gap, and that there is each of us have this feeling of gap, that things should be like this, but they are like this. One feels a pinching gap. This is not how things should be. And so they attempt to make our life go from what it is to what it should be. That defines the ethics of a person. So, and how it means a great deal for our spiritual growth can easily be seen. And that, the essence of all ethical life is not I, but you. You come first, I not first. So what ethical life tells us to reduce your concern about this, your little I. And thus it helps us to see this same I in others as well. That is actually the idea in spirituality, to see the same self in all. Actually we are same in self. Where are we same? There is this great movement, very attractive movement. All the time it has been going on, that let there be equality, sameness, let everybody have equal rights. It is certainly a very attractive proposition. But if you see that although attractive, yet it doesn't get practically worked out at all. There have been, political systems like socialism or Marxism, whatever you may call, that let everybody be equal. But practically it fails because its foundation is not properly understood. You cannot bring equality externally. You have to see where we are equal. In our language we say, look, even two fingers of the same hand are not same. And what are you talking of equality of everyone? Where are we equal? We are equal in our inner content. Like there is water in so many bottles. Bottles are different. But water is same. Just ourselves, just for an experiment. It is a good meditation. Let us think that we are like the bottles, and our I is like the water in the bottle. Just meditate on this idea, and then you will see where we are same. And so what happens is, when I try to serve others, when I push the interest of this particular body aside and serve the other body, I can see that the other also has the same self in me. There is no other self. Self is same in all. And that is how we gradually move to the spiritual existence. There is a wonderful Sufi saying, I will tell it in Hindi, then translate it, that na hoti khudi to main khudai to tha. Had there been no this little I, then I was God. There is no difference. It is only adherence to this little I, which breeds selfishness, which breeds all unethical behavior. And therefore, if we turn our behavior to ethical, gradually we will see that we are feeling that oneness, that sameness. We just transcend names and forms. That is all this spirituality means. Like you eat all animal crackers. Now the shapes are different, Look, because of the shape you call something as giraffe and something as crocodile. Babies, they quarrel over it. That no, I want to eat giraffe. If you give the crocodile, no, I don't want to eat it. But when the baby goes to kindergarten, then they understand that it is same. You buy it by pound and no difference in them inside. So when we grow from spiritual babyhood and learn that, well, everywhere the inner substance is same, and that is, helped by our ethical behavior, standing on, that what is, we should understand that this is the fact. We should not try to, mix facts and fantasies. Fact is this. But this should not be so. And there should be a conscientious attempt to change the behavior from what is to what it should be. In 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, I am not taking too much time, but I will show that it is these great ethical values, they have been told as the knowledge of the self, knowledge of the Atman is by developing these ethical values. Lord Krishna goes there to say that after narrating Amanitvam, Adambhitvam and all this list of great ethical values, he says that Etad jnanam iti proktam ajnanam yadatonyatha. This is what is to be understood as knowledge, and all other things are, howsoever world may admire you, you may get a Nobel Prize in various disciplines of studies. All that is to be considered as ignorance as far as the ultimate truth is to be known. But if you cultivate these ethical values, well, that can be considered as the knowledge, because that gives you the qualification to get this knowledge of the self. Thank you, friends.
Thank you to Swami Yogatmananda for discussing that difference between what should be and what is, and our responsibility in spirituality to bridge that gap. I think that was a great way to expand on Swami Tattvamananda's, Tattvamayananda's discussion of social activism. Now we'll have Tara Swaminathan come up to sing for us. Please give her a warm welcome to the stage.
My salutations to the respected Swami and everyone. I'll be singing two bhajans. The first one is Humko Man Ki Shakti Dena, which I'll just translate in a few words. O God, give us the strength to conquer our minds. Let our hearts be free of discrimination and be always ready to forgive. May we always stay in the path of truthfulness. If we are in difficulties, please guide us in the path of righteousness, and may we always have the confidence and not be scared of hardships.
हमको मन की शक्ति दे
मन की शक्ति देना, मन विजय करे, दूसरों की जैसे पहले खुद को जय करे। हमको मन की शक्ति देना, भेदभाव अपने दिल से साफ कर सके, भेदभाव अपने दिल से साफ कर सके, दोस्तों से भूल हो तो माफ कर सके, दोस्तों से भूल हो तो माफ कर सके, झूठ से बचे रहे, सच कदम भरे, झूठ से बचे रहे, सच कदम भरे, दूसरों की जय से पहले खुद को जय करे। हमको मन की शक्ति देना, मुश्किलें पड़ी तो हम पे इतना कर्म कर, मुश्किलें पड़ी तो हम पे इतना कर्म कर, साथ दे तो धर्म का, चले तो धर्म पर, साथ दे तो धर्म का, चले तो धर्म पर, खुद पे हौसला रहे, बधी से ना डरे, खुद पे हौसला रहे, बधी से ना डरे, दूसरों की जैसे पहले खुद को जय करे। हमको मन की शक्ति देना। Thank you. Thank you. The next one is very dear to my heart. It says, your mind is a mirror, and mind is God, and there's nothing bigger than that. When the mind is clear, your mind brightens up and spreads enlightenment everywhere. May dust never settle on such a mind. Happiness and sadness go together. Nothing is hidden from the mind. As the mind has 1,000 eyes, you may run away, but you could not run away. The mind will not run away. So you make sure your mind is clear. The next one. Just a minute. मन दर्पण कहलाए, तोरा मन दर्पण कहलाए।
भले बुरे सारे कर्मों को, भले बुरे सारे कर्मों को देखे और दिखाए, तोरा मन दर्पण कहलाए, तोरा मन दर्पण कहलाए। मन ही देवता मन ही ईश्वर, मन से बड़ा न कोई। मन ही देवता मन ही ईश्वर, मन से बड़ा न कोई। मन उजियारा जग जब फैले, जग उजियारा होए, इस उजले दर्पण पे प्राणी, इस उजले दर्पण पर प्राणी धूल न जमने पाए, तोरा मन दर्पण कहलाए, तोरा मन दर्पण कहलाए। सुख की कलियां दुख के कांटे, मन सबका आधार। सुख की कलियां दुख के कांटे, मन सबका आधार। मन से कोई बात छुपे ना, मन के नैन हंसार। जग से चाहे भागल कोई, जग से चाहे भागल कोई, मन से भाग न पाए, तोरा मन दर्पण कहलाए, तोरा मन दर्पण कहलाए। तन ही दौलत ढलती छाया, मन का धन हो। तन की दौलत ढलती छाया, मन का धन हो। तन के कारण मन के धन को मत माटी में रो, मन की कदर भुलाने वाले, मन की कदर भुलाने वाले बीच न जाएगा, तोरा मन दर्पण कहलाए, तोरा मन दर्पण कहलाए। भले बुरे सारे कर्मों को देखे और दिखाए, तोरा मन दर्पण कहलाए, तोरा मन दर्पण कहलाए। Thank you.
Thank you to Tara Swaminathan for sharing with us her sweet voice and explaining the meaning of the songs for those of us who don't speak Hindi, like myself. Appreciate it a lot. Now we've heard from half the Swamijis on the stage. The assigned topics will continue to repeat, but as we've seen, the perspective each Swamiji will offer will be different. For example, Swami Sarvadevananda, second Swamiji, spoke about the importance of embodying values in every moment of everyday life as a foundation for spirituality, while Swami Yogatmananda discussed how the uniquely human ability to differentiate right from wrong comes into that. Now I'd like to welcome Swami Prasanatmananda from the Vedanta Society of Berkeley to the mic. Let's hear his insights on moral values.
I offer my pronouns, good wishes and regards to this august assembly. We are discussing here moral values and ethical values in developing spirituality. As Swami Yogatmananda ji referred, that morality and ethics are not synonymous. I would, with kind permission, I would add a little more few words with what Swami Yogatmananda ji referred. Morality is the way of life. It can be practiced in day-to-day life. The aim of morality is to lead a meaningful cultural life. But on the other hand, ethics is an academic study. It is the science of morality. The aim of ethics is to find the problems of morality and to solve it. It is a study, academic pursuit. We have heard different aspects of Swami Vivekananda's concept regarding ethics and moral values. But Swami Vivekananda raised a very significant questions on moral values. In one of his lectures, he raised this critical question. He asked, every religion preaches that the essence of all morality is to do well to others. But why? Be unselfish. But why should we? Some God has said it. Some texts have declared it. Let them all tell it. And if they do, what is it to me? What is the reason that I should be moral? Let us try to find the answer of this question raised by Swami Vivekananda in different religions. In Judeo-Christianity, we find that we should be moral because it is the commandment. It is the commandment of God. We do evil because the impact of the original sin. Original sin is redeemed, but still we are inclined to be immoral because of the impact of original sin. And we have to follow the commandment of God. Otherwise, we have to live in the hell. What Islam says? Islam says, follow some code of conduct. We should be moral, otherwise we should be punished. What Buddhism says? Buddhism says that we should do good, otherwise karmic effect will come on us. If we do bad, the karmic effect, the result, the fruits of karma will impact on us. And the traditional Hinduism, it also believes the karmic theory. If we try to understand this, we can find from all these major religions, morality means some code of conduct, some do's or don'ts, and if you do not consequence will come to you. So, morality means some imposed teachings or code of conduct. Do this, don't do this. Be truthful, don't tell a lie. So these are imposed on you. If you don't follow, then you will be punished. The consequence will come to you. Then again there is a problem. And not me. Swamiji raised this problem on morality. Again Swamiji raised this question. He said that the morality varies greatly. If one religion aspects certain code of conduct is moral, then in other religion it is immoral. Swamiji says, for instance, in one country cousins may marry, in another it is thought to be immoral, and so forth. In another place he states, the world is a mixture of good and evil, happiness and misery. The great secret revealed by this analysis that good and bad are not two cut and dried separate existence. It is same thing. It is just opposite side of the coin. If you have to take the coin, then you have to take good and bad, happiness and misery both. Again, he gave the example of fire. You can cook food for a hungry person with fire, but again, fire is the cause of burning houses. So, morality is a conflicting aspect in our life. So what is the solution then? Swami Vivekananda gave the solution. Swami Vivekananda tried to find that is there be any moral values which is universal, means everyone can accept that moral value, because he raised the question. It is a conflicting aspect. In some religion it is moral and some religion it is immoral. So what is the solution? Swamiji tried to find some metaphysical principle and try to make that metaphysical foundation the foundation of morality. And it is not new. From Socrates to Karl Marx, we find in their moral value they applied metaphysical principles. What is that metaphysical principles? Metaphysical means, you know, physical means this world and metaphysical means beyond this world. Means some transcendental value, if can be made the foundation of moral values. And obviously, Swami Vivekananda finds that Vedantic value is the best metaphysical value, can be applied for the foundation of morality. What principles from Vedanta Swami Vivekananda found? He said, oneness of existence. What is oneness of existence? This is the central message of Vedanta. Oneness of existence. We all are one. What does it mean? We are individual, but how can we are one? Swami Vivekananda said, individual self is the image of one supreme self. So we are connected with one supreme self. In that way, we all are one. In other words, we are collectively one supreme self, and that is the oneness of existence. Our unity with the supreme self. He gave the example. Take a circle and the center. Center is the supreme self, and individual self, we are in the perimeter of the circle, and we are trying to unite with the center. And this tending to unite at the center expressed in love. That is called love. We are trying to be one, and that uniting force, the experience of that united force is called love. Love doesn't mean we try to be one. Because we are one, that is why we feel love. And he said, the expression of oneness is what we call love, and sympathy is the basis of our ethics and morality. If we have love, we must be selfless. He made two things, love and selflessness is the basis of morality, and that came from oneness of existence. Thank you.
Thank you to Swami Prasannatmananda for discussing moral values and bringing in that interfaith aspect. It's very important, and talking about that same theme of oneness that we've heard from other Swamijis today. The next Swami to speak will be Swami Kripamayananda from the Vedanta Society of Toronto, speaking on cultural values. Please welcome him to the stage.
Good evening to everybody. So, Swami Prapanandaji, he elaborately described about the importance of cultural values in developing spirituality. There is little to add on that. He beautifully explained what the cultural values mean. The culture develops because human beings find some thing in their community that needs to be nurtured, developed and retained and transmitted to the next generation. Culture doesn't come by itself. It has to be deliberately nurtured and protected, and then it goes from generation to generation that it becomes culture. The strong affinity, it becomes identity of the person, of the community. So culture, main thing of cultural values are dress, what we wear. So that unites. This is our dress. Another is food. What type of food we like. If we don't respect our culture, we start disliking the food that our ancestors or parents ate. We go to the new types of food. When we respect our culture, we retain that it has been our tradition, our custom to eat this type of food. Another very important aspect of culture is language. Language they speak, the mother tongue, how much importance we give. In where we grow, where only people of our community is there, there's no problem about retaining language or culture or dress, except by the influence of external things. But when we come to a different place where there are different cultures, we mix, we try to adopt, we try to respect that culture also. Sometimes in respecting the culture of the place where we adopt, we make the second home, we neglect our culture. But if we retain our culture, at least respect for our culture. That will be helpful for retaining our spirituality, retaining our religion, retaining our identity. Our identity, suppose we are here, many who came from India. Our identity as Indian Americans, Indian Canadians, that will always be there. We may speak the language of this part, we may change the food habit, we may change even dress, we may change the songs we like, but the community here will always identify us as Indian Americans. So, and if we do not love our own culture, they will not respect us. If we retain our culture and if we spread our arms of friendship to all, our respect increases in the eyes of others. It is expected that we will live up to our culture, we will respect our language, and the problem is how to make that language pass through to next generation, our religion, for example, this traditions, as we say. In Indian culture, the tradition, we have many traditions. We respect guests. Atithi devo bhava. Vasudhaiva kutumbakam. Yatra vishwam bhavati ekaniram. This unity of mankind, not only of our community, mankind is taken care of. That is the cultural aspect of our spirituality. That increases our culture, our spirituality. As I was saying, Atithi Devo Bhava. Guests are like gods. We respect God, we worship God, we venerate God. Similarly, the guest, unknown person, the one who comes to our house, we try to give them as much comfort as possible. I have visited some places, and some other guests went there with me, and the household, they gave their own master bedroom for the guests that had come. There was no need, they could give the other room. But they wanted to treat them as God, Atithi Devo Bhava. In one common song, they must have heard and remembered, Mehman jo hamara hota hai, wo jaan se pyara hota hai. We love our guests more than ourselves. That is our culture. In Gita it is said, God talked about human culture, and he said, you may give up anything, but don't give up yajna, dana and karma. That is our culture that we got from our scriptures, yajna, dana and karma. Yajna, dana, tapasyaiva, natyajyam. Don't give up that. That is human culture of all the people who are born in India. Irrespective of even religion, cultural unity is greater even the religious unity. So the food, the dress, the language, that goes beyond the religious boundaries. And it is said, what is yajna? Yajna is sacrifice, giving to others, taking care of others. Not for myself, giving without any expectation, that's called yajna. Dana is charity, helping others, that is dana. And tapas. Tapas is described not only austerity, standing with two arms up and with one leg and dipping in the water. That alone is not tapas. Tapas is, as described in the Gita beautifully, there is bodily tapas, there is mental tapas, and tapas of speech. The austerity of the speech, austerity of the body, and austerity of the mind. What is the austerity of the body? Deva Dvija Guru Pragya Pujanam Shauchamarjavam Brahmacharyam Ahimsacha. Many are said, one of them is Ahimsa. Many 5-6 qualities are there. Ahimsa, non-injury, not hurting others even by thought, by speech, not physically, that's commonly understood. We don't hurt anyone physically. But what about slandering, someone criticizing, someone saying against someone something in other place? That also becomes himsa. Our culture says ahimsa, not injuring others, not defiling others, not criticizing others. That is called Sharirik Tapa. What is Vachik Tapa? What is the Tapa of speech? Anudvega karam vakyam satyam priya hitanchaya. When you speak, it should be satya and priya. It should be truthful, not only truthful, it should be pleasant. It should be pleasing to others, not the harsh truth, not the hurting truth. That is not our culture. We speak truthful, no doubt, but priya satya, that pleases to us, that gives encouragement, that inspires others, that gives fulfillment in others, that gives joy to others. That type of truth should be spoken. Not any truth, any harsh truth, hurting truth. That is what it says about the Vangmayam Tapa. And Swadhyaya, study yourself, that's what it is said. And what is mental tapas? Mana prasada somyatvam maunam atma vinigraha. Self-control, control of the mind. Whatever mind wants, don't give that. What is good, only accept that. As in Kathopanishad it is said, whatever comes to you comes two types of things, pleasant and good. The wise person accepts pleasant, and those who are dull-minded, they accept. The wise person accepts good, dull-minded accept pleasant. So we have to find out the difference. And Atma Vinigraha comes in Mana Prasada, cheerfulness of the mind. Always let us keep cheerful. Swami Vivekananda used to say, the first condition of spiritual growth is cheerfulness. Are you happy? First we have to be happy, contented, joyful in life. Then only we can give joy to others. Goal in life, the best culture is to give joy to others. Holy Mother Sarada Devi, the divine consort of Sri Ramakrishna, used to say, purpose of life is fulfilled if we can give joy to others. Let us be happy, let us be cheerful, let us make others cheerful, let there be joy wherever we go. Then we retain our cultural values. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Swami Kripamayananda for discussing that aspect of culture and maintaining culture while being in a new place, as well as reminding us all the importance of being cheerful and taking care of ourselves. It reminds me of that organization's ideal of Atmano Mokshartam Jagat Hitaya Cha, for one's own liberation as well as for the good of the world. Our next speaker is Swami Chandrasekharananda from the Vedanta Society of Portland, speaking about social values.
Om Jananīṃ Śāradāṃ Devīṃ Rāmakriṣṇam Jagadgurum Ādapadme Tayo Sritvā Pranamāmi Muhurmuhu. Om Namah Sri Yatirājaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Sarupaya Swamine Taparine. Respected Swamijis and dear friends, today we are discussing about various aspects of values, social, moral and ethical values. So it is, my topic is importance of social values in developing spirituality. So social values. Why it is social values? Because we are in human society, as it is said that man is a social animal, they say. And here what we find, unity in diversity. We are various people, but we live in a harmonious way. So that is why we need to know. We may not know the highest philosophy that all are one, because we are ordinary people. So what should we do? Until unless we understand the highest value, how should we conduct? So that's why we need to know what are the social values. Very important. And we are ordinary people, therefore from our perspective we must know. And then what is the purpose of it? That also should be clear. Just now we have heard a wonderful music rendering that Man Darpan Kahlai. This mind is mirror. And as we know with our practice, if mirror is full of dirt, we cannot see our image. Therefore, it should be clean. Whatever we do, whatever we eat or give something, all these, if we are not alert, then it is possible that the action might precipitate some dirt on that mind. Therefore, we must be alert. So what is the purpose of this discipline? The purpose is to clean our hearts. It is to prepare the ground for spirituality. What is spirituality? To know our real self. What is my real self? It cannot be known until or unless our mind is pure and it is transparent. Then whatever is within, that will be manifested. Therefore, we must understand what are the social values. So we can think of why should we honor others? Why should not we kill others? As our brother said, that because killing other means we are killing ourselves. So what is the idea behind? It is said, Atmavat Sarva Bhuteshu. One should consider oneself as others. Atmavat, it's me. When I am talking to somebody else, if I use foul language, that means I am insulting myself. It is simple. We need not know the highest philosophy, but this simple practice may uplift us, that clarify all dirts from our hearts. And as we grow, then we find the importance of it. How to do this? So we are to follow the advice of Sri Krishna. What is to be done? Everything is to be done as offering to God. Say mothers cook. How to cook? They should cook for God. And God in various form in the family. And when mother feeds the family members, she would think that I am feeding God in various forms. So it is practical. And Sri Krishna says, Yat karoshi, yat ashnasi, whatever you do, whatever you eat, yat juhoshi dadasi yat, whatever you sacrifice, or whatever you donate, tat kurushva madarpanam, yat karoshi, yat ashnasi, yat juhoshi dadasi yat, yat tapasvasi konteya, whatever you do penance. Tapas means not like raising your hands and standing in cold water, not like that. It is to generate heat within, tapaha, so that you concentrate. When you concentrate, naturally you will feel warmth within. So that way we can cultivate. So yat karoshi, whatever you do, yat ashnasi, whatever you eat, and yat karoshi, yat ashnasi, yat juhoshi, dadasi yat, whatever you give, whatever you sacrifice, and whatever tapas that you do, that should be done. Only thing, to remove the dirt, it should be offered to God. So this is very important. If we practice this simple thing, say I am issuing a few words. If I can think that I am issuing for God, I am dedicating to God, then this same thing will be not karma, but karma yoga, or it will be purifying from my the dirts from my mind, and then whatever is inside within us have to be manifested. So this is very simple. And whatever values that already our brothers have enumerated, but I'll take another standpoint. What yoga says, the same thing, but in a different perspective, different ways. So there's called yama and niyama. Yama means what one should not do, and controlling oneself. That means not to do, and what one should do. That's one. So 5 are those. First is satya. I am not elaborating because my brothers have already done. Then ahimsa, it is also done. Satya, ahimsa, brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means it is controlling one's senses so that energy is not dissipated unnecessarily. So satya, ahimsa, brahmacharya, asteya, non-stealing, and aparigraha, not to covet things and to take undue things, whatever is not legal. So 5 things not to be done, and all the details you have heard already. Then what has to be done? So another 5, set of 5. Those shaucha, yes, santosha, cleanliness, speech, and all cleanliness. Shaucha, santosha, to have the satisfaction. What that's enough for me. So this contentment is very important. Then you'll not hanker for something which is undue. So shaucha, santosha, and then tapa. Already it is tapasya. Swami Kripamananji already said. What is tapasya? Let's explain. So shaucha, santosha. Concentrate, direct, warm with it. Say when you're reading, if you are concentrating, you will feel that warmth. Similarly, when you seek God, that concentration should be there. So shaucha, santosha, tapaha, swadhyaya. Swadhyaya is to upgrade one's knowledge by studying good books and to do japa, all these concentrate and for so tapaha swadhyaya and ishvara pranidhana, depending on God, in God, believe in God. So all these are very important disciplines, and these are to be so that our life changed. Why? Because as of now, if we are greedy, then that will develop into generosity. Because the next man who is standing before me is important. So, if I am angry, this is transformation of self. That's very important. So we have already covered a lot. I think that is tonight. So the purpose is to purify oneself so that when we live in the society, we live in harmony, we live in peace. And ultimately, we have to realize our own self. When our mind is clean, it will reflect automatically. So thank you very much.
Thank you to Swami Sarvapriyananda for discussing the importance of having a clean mind. Chandrasekharananda, thank you everyone. I skipped ahead. The importance of having a clean mind and practicing concentration in tapaha obviously shared with us. Next we have Swami discussing values coming from the Vedanta of New York. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Right before him, we'll have one more singer, which is Anjali Naidolka. Please come up to the stage.
Maybe here I can remove this. Good evening, everyone. I'm asked to sing a shloka. And I want to say how humble I am to be on this stage with all of you. Guruji, pranam. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling to be here and to hear all of you. My sister Alka and I grew up at the Vivekananda Vedanta Society, if you will, Hyde Park's home, where Swami Vivekananda, I think, spent some time. And many years ago, we learned shlokas there, we learned how to meditate. Dad and Mom would take us to the mandir. And at that time, we just assumed, okay, Dad and Mom are taking us, so we have to know this stuff. I didn't realize until later on in life how much I would recall those teachings, the meditation, the learnings, the prayers. And so much of what you've said today, and we will continue to hear, will continue to stay with me. And I'm happy to see Diva and other members of the younger generation here who are continuing to learn Vedanta. It helped me also recognize what puja and path is. Sort of converged for me once the Hindu Temple of Greater Chicago brought onto its campus, if you will, the murti of Swami Vivekananda ji. It all sort of came together. So when Amrish Uncle asked me, and Dad couldn't be here today, but Amrish Uncle asked, can you come and share a shloka? I said, I'm the one who would be honored to do that. It is my privilege. I consider it as part of continuing. And Uncle, you're welcome to come up and sing a little bit if you'd like. We've done that all the time growing up, and I ask all of you to do the same. This is in Sanskrit, so if I get anything wrong, please forgive me. But I hope you will sing with me as well as all of you. I ask, please do. I believe this is a prayer by Sri Adi Shankaracharya. And I'll start it and then we can. Mano buddhi hankar Cetani naham Mano buddhi hankar Cetani naham Na chakshotra jive Na chagran netre Na chapyo na bhumir Na tejo na vayu Chidananda rupah Shivoham Shivoham Chidananda rupah Shivoham Shivoham Na punyam na papam Na sukhyam na dukkham Na mantro na tirtham Na veda na yagya Aham bhojanam naiva bhota bhota Chidananda rupa Shivoham Shivoham Chidananda rupa Shivoham Shivoham Aham nirvikalpo Aham nirvikalpo Nirakar-rupo Vibhur-vyapya sarvatra सच्चिदानंद रूप शिवोहम 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 सच्चिदानंदोहम शिवोहम शिवोहम सच्चिदानंदोहम शिवोहम शिवोहम सच्चिदानंदोहम मोहम शिवोहम सच्चिदानंदोहम शिवोहम शिवोहम सच्चिदानंदोहम शिवोहम शिवोहम सच्चिदानंदोहम शिवोहम सच्चिदानंदोहम. Thank you all for singing with me. Thank you, Amrishaka. And thank you so much, Swamiji, for your continued lesson.
Thank you to Anjali and Amrishji for leading us in that, as well as for Anjali's great words. Next, we have Swami Sava Priyananda from the Vedanta Society of New York speaking about ethical values.
Revered Swamijis and dear friends, the subject is ethical values. You know, I just remember this person many years ago in India. I just remember that I was going in this car with this person and he struck up a conversation with me and he said, I really don't care for your Vedanta. I said, why not? And he said, look, you can't have ethics with Vedanta. Why not? If you are Brahman and the world is an appearance like a dream, it's not, there's no point of ethics anyway. And it's not uncommon actually. People after studying Vedanta a little, then they think, they have this question, why be good when the world is an appearance? Why not do wrong? What is the connection between Vedanta and ethics? No connection between Vedanta and ethics, nothing could be further from the truth. Vedanta provides the for ethics. So Natmanji was saying that ethics as an academic discipline, two kinds of questions are asked there. One is, we are familiar with this. Ethics means what is right and what is wrong. How should I live? What should I do? What should I not do? What's the right thing to do here? What's the wrong thing? Ethics should answer that. But there's a deeper question. Why should I be good? Love thy neighbor is fine, but why? Why should I not cut my neighbor's throat if it suits my purpose? Why should I not lie and cheat and steal? If it's to my advantage. The answer, of course, is in Vedanta, that since we are all reality, after one reality, then in hurting somebody else, in cheating somebody else, in telling lies to somebody else, I am hurting and cheating and telling lies to myself, my own myself, self with a capital X. Different systems of different religion to different, but there is a commonality. All these religions, all systems of they have one thing in common, it's called the golden rule of ethics. The golden rule is that do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I want to be loved, so I should love. I don't want to be hurt by others, so I should not hurt others. I don't want to I don't want to tell lies, so I should not cheat others. Have them do unto you. And this is in different forms. This is actually found in all religions. In fact, in New York, there's the headquarters of the United Nations. And on the third floor, if you visit the headquarters of the United Nations, on the third floor, on one wall, in big letters carved in rock, is this: do unto others as you would have them do unto you, the golden rule in all religions. But then again you might ask, it's all very fine, but why? Why should I do good to others? Let others do good to me. Why should I do good to others? And again the answer comes from Vedanta. See, there is an attempt to justify ethics, to find a ground for ethics, to find a foundation for ethics. Those who studied ethics and philosophy, they know it's been an age struggle from very ancient, very good. Very many things. There are big names, theological theories, theories, deontological theories. All of them, ultimately, they had some defects. They can be questioned, and they at some point of the other. To my mind, the most effective foundation, persuasive foundation, the best answer to the question, why should I be good, comes from motivating factor for all of us, interest. So it is, I should be good out of self. Only the self, there is the capital. When we see what is the self, who am I actually? When I see I am the all beings, then I find ethics. What should I do? Because I am a being who do anyway. Not only is Advaita the foundation for ethics, ethics is the foundation for Advaita Vedanta. How does that work? If I want enlightenment, being good, nobody gets good. I saw like a outside a church. Good minus God is equal to 0. G minus God leaves only one O left. Good minus God. Spirituality out of ethics, nothing remains. But if you take ethics out of spirituality, nothing remains. So you cannot be spiritual without being good. One can be good, may not be particularly interested in spiritual life, but one cannot be spiritual without being good. In Advaita Vedanta, the first thing, when you study Vedanta, the first thing is ethics. They call it sadhan chaturya, the four qualifications for you must have the discernment between the eternal and the non-viveka. Dispassion, vairagya, call it non-eternal. And then sixfold disciplines, the so-called quietude of mind, shamaha, control of the senses, dhammaha, spiritual fortitude, titiksha, then liberty, a withdrawal from too much engagement in the world, and then drop, focus, shraddha, in the scripture, the spiritual masters, and then of course intense desire for spiritual freedom. None of these are all higher order values possible without the basic ethical values. Unless it's truthful, non-violent. This non-violence, Swamiji is talking about the non-violence in speech. Don't speak harsh. As reminded of inimitable Mark Twain. He said that those who claim to be fond of brutal truths, some people say brutally honest, fond of brutal truth, often see they are more fond of brutality than the truth. So, truthless and violence and self-control and selflessness, selfless attitude to life. Then only we have these higher preparations for Vedanta. And Vedanta results in ethics. What happens when you become enlightened? Living. And then Arjuna asks this question to Krishna at the end of the second chapter. So suppose I am enlightened, then how will I be different from anybody else? How is an enlightened person? What does an enlightened person do? And how will they walk and talk and with others? And Krishna gives a description of an enlightened person. He calls it Sthita Pragya, one who has got stabilized wisdom. Wisdom. And it is centered in the realization of Brahman. But that life is an life. Only difference is we struggle to be ethical, but it's natural. For all the values we're talking about, in the life of an enlightened life of a Jivan Mukta. Enlightenment has these two aspects. One aspect is a paradigm shift. I thought I was this little person, body, mind, and after enlightenment I realized, no, I am infinite existence, consciousness, bliss. Just now we heard, Chidamanda Rupa Shivoham. So that's a shift. From I am this little person to Shivoham. So that's, you might call it a paradigm shift in knowledge, in understanding. That's one. That's not all of enlightenment. We expect an enlightened person to have the qualities of a Buddha, to have the qualities of a Vivekananda. So enlightenment is also a shift, an upgradation in ethical manifestation. As Swami Vivekananda, when he says religion is the manifestation of divinity, it means a understanding of who am I, but also a manifestation of the qualities that we see in a saint's life. So this is what I said just part of the fact that ethics has nothing to do with Vedanta forms the foundation. It is the reason for why should I be ethical. And not only that, Vedanta is preceded by ethics. Vedantic enlightenment is not. Vedantic enlightenment results in an ethical life. Before and before. Thank you very much. So this question from the audience, see oneness. When we have groups of people working to annihilate us and our dharmic practice. First of all, protect yourself. Sri Ramakrishna used to say that if you're spiritual, it doesn't have to be a fool. Bengali, he said, if you're a bhakta, it doesn't mean you have to be stupid. So you protect yourself. We have to protect ourselves and know what is what. The world is like. The world is a dangerous place. They say to such questions, you are a Hindu, you are a Vedantic. What is your ultimate response as a Hindu? So as a Hindu, there is nothing in Hinduism which tells us to hate other religions. There is nothing in Hinduism which tells us that other religions are wrong. There is no such concept in Hinduism. So as a Hindu, we understand that there is truth in all the religions, and we will continue to promote the highest values in our own religion and in all religions. And of course, wisely.
Thank you to Swami Priyananda for giving us that why aspect for ethical values from Vedanta about that oneness. Next, we have our very own Swami Ishakmananda from the Vedanta Society of Chicago, finishing us off by talking about the value according to Ma Sharada's teachings.
Rejoice, I have come as a redeemer. I'm the last speaker. And now, this is really, really wonderful evening. And that is the beauty of the Hinduism. When you were coming through that Durga temple, Durga Mandir, beautiful bhajan is going on. I'm feeling, I was going on, clapping with them at the music. And too much of weight, otherwise I would have danced over there. So, the beautiful music and the ritual going on. And from the ritual we have come over here, the second step to reach spirituality, that is morality. There are few steps to reach to spirituality. And one of our Swamiji, Swami Tattamayananda, he tried very nicely to explain what is spirituality. And Swami Sarvapriyananda concluded that it is you just transforming into that. So Jivana Mukta condition. So that is the spirituality. You know everything, that knowledge. But to reach to that condition, you have to pass through fast rituals. You have to fast, you have to put on the washed clothes, you have to put on masks, you have to sing, you have to do this, you have to do that, all rituals. And afterwards, morality. They will organize this type of meeting, Swamis will come, learned people will come, and they will go on telling, you should not do this, you should do this is good, this is bad. And why you should do? Because you are going to harm yourself, you are criticizing others. So that is called morality. And after the morality comes the mythology. Then what is this morality? That you must keep your words. You must tell the truth. And is it possible for anyone? Yes. Then they will give you a story, inspiring story. And yeah, this type of people are also there. They can keep their words. So they will continue. So that is the way we grow the mythology. Beautiful stories. Once you start reading, that is called mythology. It gives us the inspiration. After that comes philosophy. And in the philosophy, slowly from different angles, they will be telling you from Dvaitik, from the duality. God is there, I am here, we are different, we can name God. One person he was giving Sia community song, and he was saying, possible to become God. We are sinners, how can you? So that way that he was shouting. That way also, I am sinner, I should pray. Another person will come, God, otherwise God, like the fire and the spark. See. So another, third, we are one, as always, Vedanti, we say, Hinduism. If you go, is worshipping on the street, and we also go there, offer our pranam to that stone. Hinduism. You go to Himalaya, Swami sitting like this, you go and ask Swamiji, which is your God? Aye. Beta nahi. Go. So that is called Hinduism. So Gamut is like this. So we have to take the fasting, the ritual. This temple, Lemon temple, every day there is something or other at the center. And then you learn, and so the younger generation is also learning. I saw this girl acting as a HTGC. Her mother used to do that, and now how perfectly she is pronouncing Swami's names. It's so clear. But she is perfectly pronouncing. Clear learning that this is ritual morality. Beautiful explanations from angles. You can conclude by saying, baby, what she said. You know what she said? Don't find fault with us. That's all. Don't find fault with others. And what do we do? All the 10 fingers are always busy to find faults. Only index finger times all the 10 fingers. What you are doing, that much. And you will find so joy within. Religion is joy. Religion is. When somebody is happy, you also feel happy. That is religion. Yes. And somebody is somebody is getting the award, I'm happy. Because that is what ultimately this world is. When all this came, they were thinking, they all in the books. If we read, we know them. So everyone goes like that. And if we understand that, then we will follow only one thing that Master say, don't find fault with others. Why? Because that person is also me. Suppose a mother will leave a she will never go to the neighbors and say, my son is bad, my daughter is bad. Never. She will rather protect and say, no, my children are so good. But she will close the door and say, why you have done that? Yes, you should not do, you should not. It's not finding fault, it is rectification. We should not do this. Rectification and finding fault, it's two different things. I can't accept that person. Whatever he does, I'm angry. Oh, look at that. How she was singing. Look at that. Okay, the voice is good, but at the same time, her pronunciation was not correct. Somehow or other, we will find it. Somehow or other. That is the problem. And ultimately, what happens? I am suffering. That person is going on in his own way. He is going in his own way. I am only suffering. Friends, today, all the shopping come, and I am so happy seeing our brothers after 3 long years, pandemic. So all we are here. I really feel that this is our home, our own ashrama all the time. When they come, to inform them, and say, show them here, and I am sure they are going to lead us with very big, fine. Not finding fault anyway. Thank you very much. Please, when you go back home, take something with you. Take something. There is a entertainment and enlightenment. 2 words, right? Enlightenment, entertainment. Most of the time, we are entertained. Go to that, our Durga Nandi, beautiful music. You're all sitting over there, clapping. And after that, what? Same old person going back. But coming over here, sitting over here and listening to the Swamis for such a long time, one after another, on the same subject, morality, 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 it goes into your head. And you think, am I a moral person? Sure, of course you are. So we have to be free to become moral. When we are not free, we cannot become moral. So that we must understand. And we take something in our head that is enlightenment. I have learned something today. And when I am going to sleep, I try to practice that every day, every day, every day. A completely different person. How do you friend? They will say, hey, you're so lovely. When they come to you, they like to talk to you. And it's always joyful. That is joy. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Swami Ishakmananda for tying together all of these Swamis' talks. And let's give them all one big round of applause. We're so grateful to have all of you here. Thank you so much for coming. Now we will have Mrs. Surabi Kumar lead the honoring of Swamijis, along with Mrs. Urmila Rawal, Mrs. Prasanna Reddy, Mrs. Bala Bish, Mrs. Sad, and Mrs. Agarwal. Please stage to honor the Swamijis. Thank you. I'm going to say the Swamiji's names, and if you could raise your hand to indicate, we'll pass out the... So first, Swami Varadananda. Swami Prapandananda. Swami Yogatmananda. Swami Kripamayananda. Swami Kripamayananda. Swami Sarvapriyananda. Swami Sarvadevananda. Swami Tattvamayananda. Swami Prasanatmananda. Swami Chandrasekharananda. And Swami Ishatmananda. Can all the women please stand behind the Swamijis and we'll take a picture? Finally, our last item of the night, we'll have a vote of thanks by Chair of Vivekananda Spiritual Center, HTGC. After this, please join us for a complimentary dinner downstairs.
Hello. Thank you so much. Deva, would you please come over here? What a great job. You well done. We are honored to have you and doing a wonderful, wonderful job. Importance of values in developing spirituality, moral, cultural, social, and ethical. What a great topic. And having cream of Vedanta Society of North America right here with us and giving the great values. You know, when I sent a message to our friends, this is the evening and we would like you to have here, one of the friends, she wrote, I have other priorities, commitments, but this is a lifetime opportunity. I'm not going to miss it. And she's right here. Madhuji, thank you. What I have, Swamiji said, if you can take something with you, you know, simple thing, Satya. You know, I always ask question sometimes, how much stress comes from speech only? And I get the answer is 75 to 95%. And Satya, if we speak the truth, how much stress we can manage in our lives. And there are 4 qualities of speech. It has to be Satyam, Hitam, Priyam, and Mitam. Swamiji said it in the beginning. So if we start with this, if we just take one thing today and we say, okay, we are not going to lie, how much stress we can manage in our lives and how our lives change with that. Let us give a round of applause again for all these qualities. Please stand. And all of you stand for a round of applause. Special thanks to Swami Shatmanandji. He is our guide and always guiding us to get the best of the programs. And I would like all of you to mark your calendars. Every first Saturday first Saturday of every month, 11 o'clock, in Vedanta Spiritual Center VSC, we meet, and Swamiji gives his discourse over there. You can enjoy and you can really benefit out of that so much. Please mark your calendars. Thanks to Mrs. Survi Kumar, taking your time out of the very busy schedule. And thanks to the singers, Daniel, Tara Swaminathan, and Anjali. Swamiji, you can please have your seats.
Friends, tomorrow from 11 to 1, there will be a beautiful discussion about the birth of the organization at Omar Glen Ashram. Omar Glen Ashram, I think you have heard it, right? At 11 to 1, all the Swami, they will be speaking for 10 minutes, and how a beautiful organization about which Swami Vivekananda dreamed, that started. So we will be having the discussion over there. Please come and join and take prasad over there. Omar Glen Ashram. Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji. Thanks to Hindu Temple of Greater Chicago, President, Secretary, Manager, and Renuka ji for Prasadam, Vanamurthy ji for stage. Special thanks to Dr. Sunila Harsool and Amrish Mahajan for taking the lead in arranging all this. Give them a big round of applause. And thank you. I don't want to stand between dinner and you anymore. Thank you.